the area of Alondra, near where that Home Depot is, where all of this started this morning. So I'm under the impression right now that either this bus is for those agents, the Border Patrol, or it's to make arrests. Oh, it looks like the bus is moving, even though protesters are trying to stop it from moving. So we don't know if this is reinforcements, if this is to help with arrests, or to get those agents out of there. But this situation continues to just unravel here in Paramount right now. We're bringing you live pictures. This is Josh Haskell with ABC 7 Eyewitness News of protesters literally trying to stop this bus with their own hands. And the bus is slowly creeping up, and it does not appear that this bus is full of, I don't know who is on this bus. I don't know if anyone is on this bus, but they are kind of trying to creep forward. And I don't see how this situation resolves without the sheriff's department getting involved or local law enforcement. It really does feel as though if these are reinforcements or for arrests, they're going to have a difficult time.
Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. 2 Ezra chapter 15, verse 14 and 15. Shalom. I want to start by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem, Racha Kodash, and double honor to our venerable apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and blessings to Lord's elect, the house of David. All right, so Brother Aharon coming back at you with another lesson, lower and be edifying and uplifting unto the elect. All right, and this is breaking news, all right. Trump sends National Guard to Los Angeles amid chaos in the streets as protesters clash with ICE agents. All right, and this is dated today. The news just reported this about an hour ago, or almost an hour ago, say 45 minutes ago from the time that I'm recording this. So we're going to run through this real quick. I haven't read through it yet, so let's jump right into it. It says, Trump's border czar has said the National Guard is mobilizing to enter the city of Los Angeles within hours amid tense standoffs between protesters and ICE agents. We are making Los Angeles safer. Mayor Karen Bass should be thanking us, Tom Homan, President Trump's point man on border security, said on X on Saturday evening, and we are in Saturday evening right now, currently. It says, we are going to bring the National Guard in tonight. Okay, so Saturday evening, they're bringing in the National Guard, which LA is about 3 hours behind us. So it's currently 8 p.m. right now. So they're around like 5, around there. So by 8 p.m., around this time for us, for them, will be, hopefully we'll be seeing the, hopefully I say, we'll be seeing the, these things take place. And why am I, excited about this? I'm excited simply because this is all speeding up prophecy. Okay, these kind of things always start off like this because, like they say, whatever happens, it says the America goes as LA goes. Okay, as Cali goes, so does America. So everything that goes on in that state, typically, eventually, it runs through the other different states. Okay, New York and so on and so forth. All right, but this is setting the precedent. All right, of what is going to happen, or how is Trump going to deal with dissent? Okay, what is going to be the norm? And we've been saying that it's going to be martial law and all these different things. Once you start seeing National Guard coming in, okay, because people are protesting against ICE agents, well, what's going to be the next thing coming in when people protest things that are more intense than just ICE agents? Okay, when passion really gets in and the people really get heated as the summer months come about, how is Trump and them going to respond to stuff like this? Okay, eventually this is all leading to coming after all of Americans. Okay, especially those who have guns and so on and so forth. It says federal agents clashed with angry protesters in the Los Angeles area for a second day Saturday, shooting flashbang grenades into the crowd and shutting part of a freeway amid raids on undocumented migrants, reports said. The standoff took place in the suburb of Paramount, where the demonstrators had gathered near a Home Depot that was being used as a staging area for federal immigration officials. They were met by federal agents in riot gear and gas masks who lobbed flashbang grenades and tear gas at the crowd, according to news reports and social media posts. And this is just the beginning. All right, wait till they start bringing out the I think it's LARR. It's like this sound thing that disperses crowds. Okay, they got this technology that when they let it go, it's like a wave. It hits the people and they just scatter. You know, they got some sounds that when people hear, it's so painful. All right, it almost like it subdues you, like you almost become paralyzed. They have all this technology, man. Okay. Soon they're gonna be using drones to be throwing these tear gases and shit like that. You're gonna see, man. Esau's gonna come out with their toys. They can't wait. Okay. It says Border Patrol personnel in riot gear and gas masks stood guard outside an industrial park in the city of Paramount, deploying tear gas by bystanders and protesters gathered in medians and across the street. Yo, what's good, bro? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Word? Shit. Hey, be careful. There's mosquitoes out there. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Tomorrow. All right. Hey. Hey, that's enough now. All right, so going back to it, it says Border Patrol personnel in riot gear and gas masks stood guard outside an industrial park in the city of Paramount, deploying tear gas by the bystanders and protesters gathered on medians and across the street. Some jeered at officers while recording the events on smartphones. "ICE out of Paramount. We see you for what you are," a woman said through a megaphone. "You are not welcome here." And that's pretty much the sentiment of most Americans who know what's going on. All right, people are starting to put the pieces together that, the government is not here for us. That's a lot of people are starting to see it. All right, but it's getting to a point where, because so many people are starting to see it, Esau is countering it with artificial intelligence that could snitch on you. Okay, so now you're going to start seeing a lot of people being made examples of, right? In the sense that, this type of behavior will not be tolerated. And if you think or behave in this type of manner, this is what's going to happen to you. See what I'm saying? So people are going to be, forced to, they don't want to comply, but they also don't want to get in trouble because AI is monitoring everything. All right, so that's the step when we're shifting into that stage. All right, but this is huge, man. This is big news, breaking news. All right. And we're going to see how it plays out, because remember, ordo ab chaos. Okay. So when there's chaos, that's a crisis, and that's what they call an opportunity. Okay. An opportunity to bring in some draconian legislation. All right. Damn, this stuff is looking, it's crazy. Why is the news not talking about this? Shit, it's a lot. All right, so continue. It says one handheld sign read, "No human being is illegal." On Saturday, amid chants for ICE agents to get out, some protesters waved Mexican flags while others set a U.S. flag on fire. Ooh, Trump don't like that. It says cement blocks and overturned shopping carts served as crude roadblocks. So this stuff is already pretty much picked up. All right, it's not just it's just starting with people just protesting. Nah, this is They throwing rocks and shit like that at these ICE agents, man, as they drive by. Okay, so it's really, really serious out there. It says a crowd swarmed a U.S. Marshals Service bus exiting a nearby freeway, with authorities later closing on and off ramps to keep protesters from taking over the highway. Smoke rose from burning shrubbery and refuse in the street, and demonstrators kicked at a Border Patrol vehicle. A boulevard was closed to traffic as Border Patrol agents circulated through the area. There you go. Okay? Man, this is crazy. It says Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem posted a message on social media addressing LA rioters and warning that interference with immigration enforcement will not be tolerated. I find it very interesting that I believe it was the next week, Trump is also going to be holding a so-called birthday. There's like a huge celebration going on, right? He said, oh, you know, everyone should come watch, everybody should come see, blah, blah, whatever. And the first thing I thought about was, why all of a sudden this guy is out here trying to do this whole birthday shit? I've never seen a president, at least to my knowledge, it probably has happened, but not on this scale, where it's almost like a national thing. You got I believe it was going to be like the military or a part of the military is going to be there, you know, the National Guard or something. They're going to be there and all these different things that's going on. So it's like a spectacle. You know what I'm saying? It's a spectacle. And the first thing I thought about was, this got to be a distraction. This is literally the what they call in the magicians misdirection. All right, we're doing something here, but we don't want your mind to pick up what we're doing. So even though you might see what we're doing, we're gonna distract you with something else, so your mind doesn't really put the pieces together. You know, so for that to be happening right when this is all taking place is very, very interesting. Who knows? Maybe that whole celebration could turn into a state of chaos. You know, people gonna be like, man, we ain't trying to have you celebrate your goddamn birthday, man. This country's suffering. You know, if I can't celebrate mine, you can't celebrate yours either. You know, it says, you will not, quote, this is a quote, it says, you will not stop us or slow us down, end quote, Noem said on the X platform. And Noem, all right, is the Homeland Security Secretary. Okay, Homeland Security. You got the DHS in there and all these different so-called law enforcement agencies. We call them law enforcement because they're not abiding by the so-called Constitution of the United States, even though they so-called pledge an oath to it. All right, they're only enforcing, all right, the laws of their rulers, the ones who actually pay them their salaries and shit like that. No, it's not your tax dollars. No, it's just what they tell you. Okay, but these people are almost like private security for the elites. Okay, they're the ones, the powerhouse that Esau is using to keep the people in check. And right now, people are protesting. Who they're going to bring? The military. Okay, it starts with the National Guard, and then it kicks up a gear based on the intensity of the chaos. Okay, and we're going to see martial law might be enacted out in LA first. Okay, I wouldn't be surprised. All right, I would not be surprised, and it's probably not going to take too long for them to enact it too. All right, when you hear you will not stop us or slow us down, what you mean by that? Right? Noem said on the X platform, Immigration and Customs Enforcement will enforce the law. You hear that? And if you lay a hand on a law enforcement officer, you will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. You see that? You see that? All right? And they're going to make it where it's impossible, virtually and practically impossible to defend yourself against this type of shit. All right? So finishing off, it says, oh, wait a minute. Oh, what? Hold on. Did I just miss the thing that I was reading? I hate when this thing does that. Right, there you go. It says, the immigration raids are a part of President Trump's ongoing crackdown on undocumented immigrants. Okay? Undocumented immigrants, huh? It says, following the latest clashes in Los Angeles, authorities vowed to prosecute offenders and warned of an escalating security presence. You hear that? Trump was elected to a second term largely on a promise to crack down hard on the entry and presence of undocumented immigrants or migrants who he likened to, quote, monsters and animals. That is very dangerous language he's using there. Okay, that sounds very much like a dictator. All right, before they harm a population, they have to dehumanize that population. Calling people monsters and animals is a dehumanization tactic. Okay, and that's what that's creating, is for the minds of the people to be okay with any form of violent justification against these said people. All right, and it starts with the so-called migrants, because that's an easy one. They can say, oh, they're coming here to take your jobs, and look at all the things that they do, and it's all gang members. It's not real. It's not just innocent people. It's gang members and MS-13 members and shit like that. We need to protect the streets. We need to crack down on the drugs and the violence and all these different things. You know? It says, FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino said multiple arrests had been made following Friday's clashes. Quote, you bring chaos and we will bring handcuffs. Law and order will prevail, he said on X. You hear that? That's a very dictatorial tone. Very draconian tone, man. Okay? You bring chaos, we will bring handcuffs. Well, the scripture says that the people are not going to regard their kings nor princes. So the violence is going to come. The chaos is going to come. All right? And it's going to lead to them unleashing, all right, their toys, like I keep saying. All right? They shall be like madmen sparing none. That's going to be their retaliatory action. The people are getting out of hand. We need to come down with force. Revelation 12:12. Okay? Immigration and Customs Enforcement officers executed search warrants at multiple locations Friday, including outside a clothing warehouse in the fashion district. The tense scene unfolded outside as a crowd tried to block agents from driving away. Advocates for immigrants' rights said there were also migration detentions outside Home Depot stores and a donut shop. Let me see if there's any more here. DHS, Department of Homeland Security, said in a statement that recent ICE operations in Los Angeles resulted in the arrest of 118 immigrants. Following the Friday arrests, protesters gathered in the evening outside a federal detention center chanting, "Set them free, let them stay." Some held signs with anti-ICE slogans, and some scrawled graffiti on the building. Damn, this is crazy. Some of these pictures here, people are out here wilding out. This is it, man. And it's mostly people waving Mexican flags. So that's Issachar, okay? Which is gonna ultimately rouse up these other nations, you know, and then you're gonna have the rest of the tribes join in. Okay? Isaiah 19. It says, an insurrection against the laws and sovereignty of the United States, while House Deputy Chief of Staff and anti-immigration hardliner Stephen Miller said on X, sharing a video of protesters marching Friday outside Los Angeles Federal Detention Center. Okay, so he's just saying, well, this is what they call an insurrection, when you see people marching around, but it's not going to matter because they got AI now. So AI can always literally just be used as a propaganda tool, all right, for them to move ahead with their false narratives. Okay, something known as agitation propaganda, agitprop, right? It says Trump has pledged to deport record numbers of people in the country illegally and lock down the U.S.-Mexico border, while the White House setting with the White House setting a goal for ICE to arrest at least 3,000 migrants per day. Damn. It says, but the sweeping immigration crackdown has also included people legally residing in the country. This is Rex 84. Okay? including some with permanent residence, and led to legal challenges. Let's just pull up Rex 84 real quick. Let me show you something. All right, we've been saying this. This is all going to start playing out. All right, what is Rex 84? Readiness Exercise 1984. Bravo. Let's see. Right here. It says, Rex 84, short for Readiness Exercise 1984 Bravo, was a classified scenario and drill developed by the United States federal government to detain large numbers of United States residents. Remember that it's residents, immigration. Are you legally residing here? That kind of thing. Residents deemed to be, quote, national security threats. That is the end goal. But prior to the end goal, in order for them to actually get to that point, they have to push this narrative of you're an illegal resident or an illegal immigrant. We're doing what we can to make sure that we can, mitigate this problem. They're gonna meet a clash, and then their solution for that clash will be, okay, fine, we can't detain all of you people because we don't know who's who anymore. So the only way we can determine who's who and so on and so forth is by digitally identifying you. So this is the problem that causes that digital identification to be the solution. This is all part of the chaos, right? It says national security threats. It says in the event that the president declared a national emergency. Okay? The scenario envisioned state defense forces rounding up 500,000 undocumented Central American residents. If they're rounding up 3,000 a day, that 500,000 number is not going to take long to get to. Okay? So rounding up undocumented Central American residents and 4,000 American citizens whom the U.S. Attorney General has designated as, quote, national security threats, end quote, as part of the secret continuity of government program. These people would be detained at 22 military bases and concentration camps run by the Federal Emergency Management Agency, otherwise known as FEMA. Okay? So let's go back to the reading. Again, like I said, this is all Rex 84. All right? This is all Rex 84 being played out. Okay? It says, but the sweeping immigration crackdown has also included people legally residing in the country, including some with permanent residence, and has led to legal challenges. Television news footage earlier on Friday showed caravans of unmarked military-style vehicles and vans loaded with uniformed federal agents streaming through Los Angeles streets as part of the immigration enforcement operation. The LAPD did not take part in the immigration enforcement. It was deployed to quell civil unrest after crowds protesting the deportation raids spray-painted anti-ICE slogans on the walls of a federal court building and gathered outside a nearby jail where some other detainees were reportedly being held. Let me see if we could jump through a little bit of this. Listen to this. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass, in a statement, condemned the immigration raids. Remember, all these statements that every single politician ever reads is written, and the words are carefully chosen for them to convey to the public. Okay, because all politicians are magicians, bro. They practice high-level magic and sorcery. Okay, and that's how they're able to use words and all these different theatrics, all right, to get people to either go for one side of the party or the other. Okay, so this is Karen Bass. She said, I am deeply angered by what has taken place. You know, somebody wrote that for her because LA was on fire earlier this year. She was out here, they said she was taking a hiatus out in Ghana or something. All right. And when she came back, she had nothing to say because she was part of the plan. And yeah, there was a time where she tried to defend the Hebrew Israelites when Christopher Wray, that punk bitch, he tried to make it seem like, oh, the Hebrew Israelites, we're going to have to investigate them because da-da-da. She said, yo, but they teach on the street corners. They ain't something that they're doing that's in secret. They do it out in the open streets. Everybody could go stop and listen to what they're saying. So what do you mean by black identity extremists when you talk about Hebrew Israelites? You see? She said, you got to give me more than what you guys are trying to push here. You know, and I liked her for that. But now I'm starting to see that, yeah. You know, she's part of the plan at the end of the day, right? She probably got spoken to like, yo, listen, you better, you know what I'm saying? You better watch your, you know what I'm saying? Out here taking for the Hebrew Israelites and shit. You got to clean it up before we clean you up, you know? So she says, I am deeply angered by what has taken place. Baz said, these tactics sow terror in our communities. You hear that? Listen to the verbiage. Deeply angered. Great wrath, right? These tactics sow terror in our communities and disrupt basic principles of safety in our city. You're hearing the rhetoric. The next thing she's going to start pushing for is for the federal government to do something. This is part of the chaos stage. We will not stand for this. In response, ICE Acting Director Todd Lyons chided Bass for the city's response to the protests. Mayor Bass took the side of chaos and lawlessness over law enforcement, Lyons said. Make no mistake, ICE will continue to enforce our nation's immigration laws and arrest criminal, illegal aliens. Okay? I am deeply angered by what has taken place. These tactics sow terror in our communities and disrupt basic principles of safety in our city. We will not stand for this. That's all something known as controlled opposition. Okay? Controlled opposition. You don't become a politician, whether you be a mayor or a damn a congressperson, congressman or woman, or you know, a governor or a president. You don't become any of that if you don't, you know, play by their rules. If you're not groomed through their system, you just can't be like that. It doesn't work like that. And anyone who slips through the cracks and doesn't play ball, they up out of there, man. Okay, they're up out of there. All right. So it says among those arrested at the protest was David Hurta, regional president of the Service Employees International Union. Justice Department spokesperson Ciaran McAvoy confirmed that he was being held Saturday at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Los Angeles ahead of a scheduled Monday court appearance. Democratic Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer called for his immediate release. In a social media post, he cited a disturbing pattern of arresting and detaining American citizens for exercising their right to free speech. It's very ironic that Chuck Schumer will be the one to say something like that, you know, being that he's a Democrat that was pushing for, if you're not vaccinated, we're going to do this and do that to you. Those old ass demons that don't want to just leave and just go die someplace. They still here haunting people, all right, harassing people, all right, coercing people and all this extra shit. All right. Very interesting that he's going to come up and say what he's saying. But when the CV came out and people were like, nah, we ain't with it. He's like, anyone who doesn't do it, they shouldn't really be allowed in society. It's like, who the fuck? What's wrong with these old ass people? Just leave already. All right. Just go someplace. Just go. Disappear off the face of the earth and peace will be, you know, felt all around the world, man. Everybody's sick of you. That's like LeBron who doesn't want to retire. Just leave, bro. Damn. Crazy. You overstayed your welcome. Hey, but that's why the Lord's going to have to remove these devils out of place, man. You know, all these old ass, it's like all these people that be saying all this draconian shit and how they want to depopulate and do it. They all old ass Edomites, bro. All of them. Most of them, they all old. It's like, just die and shut up and stop with all this bullshit, bro. We don't want to hear this. All right. So continue, is Los Angeles, the second most populous city in the United States, is one of the most diverse metropolises in the country. The suburb of Paramount, home to about 50,000 people, is 82% Hispanic or Latino, according to U.S. Census data. That's Northern Kingdom. Okay, so that's a nice testing ground right there. All right, to see how this thing is going to at least kick off. All right, starting off with so-called illegal immigrants, but yet they're coming after legal citizens as well, residents. Okay, that's Rex 84 right there for you. All right, let me see something here. Yeah, that's pretty much it. But again, this is just some breaking news information I just want to share real quick. All right, we're seeing things, man. Things are happening. Today is what? Let's see what today is. Today's the 7th. Okay, and June 1st was heavy. All right, this month so far is looking real heavy, man. We're at the halfway point, all right, of this year. So we'll see, man. We'll see. But things are definitely brewing. All right, things are definitely brewing. Let's end it off with this precept here, and then we'll close it out. All right, it's the book of Revelation, chapter 12, verse 12. I quoted it, but let's read it. It says, "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time." Okay, and that's all in line with 2 Ezra 15 that we read. For the sword in their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another with swords in their hands. So we're seeing the build up to it. All right, Isaiah 19 going into the Egyptian against the Egyptian. And then later on in that verse, in that chapter, it talks about the Lord handing the Egyptians over onto a cruel Lord. Okay, who is that cruel Lord? DJ Trump. Okay, and what's going to make him, the Lord is going to hand the Egyptians, those people who are causing that chaos, into the hands of this cruel Lord. That cruel is synonymous with draconian. All right, he's the president of law and order. Right? So we're going to see, man. We're going to see. But anyway, I'm going to close it off. Lord willing, you're edified and informed. In closing, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh. Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rachakudash. The water Yahweh Basham Yahweh Shai. Until next time. Shalom.